Bonjour, everybody. Hi, this is Neshi Lokatz. Welcome to Star Nation's organization's main fan page and today's card draw live stream. I do this almost just about every morning at 10 a.m. Central and 11 Eastern. And it's a time for us to be able to get together and just chat, have a conversation about spirit and what kind of information is brought through the Jamie Sams cards, the ones I'm using right now, called Sacred Path cards. Let's get it out of the glare. And so those are the cards we've been using since the beginning of May. And and it's so interesting in how the cards come, especially like it was this morning. You know, here in Wisconsin, I'm in Tomah, Wisconsin. And hi, Jean. We are having a beautiful morning, beautiful, because it's rained here for like 4 days, and today is the first day that we've really had sunshine. And I tell you what, my whole neighborhood is so busy this morning. Can hear lawnmowers and people talking, kids laughing, and dogs barking, normal neighborhood stuff. But it's like everybody decided they were going to get out of the house. Although, I have to say, the rain was pretty steady. There were times when it was like a deluge, but it wasn't anything that, I've been like in torrential rains in Ireland. And we were at one sacred site, and we were using the terms, this is biblical, literally drumming at a cairn. It's a burial site, right? And we were drumming. I had my, it's a 13-inch mylar head drum. So it's a synthetic drum head. And that's the one I always take with me when I travel, especially to Ireland, because it's so damp there. And so anyway, I had a cap on, I had my hood up, and I'm looking down as I'm drumming, right? And the water was literally like a waterfall. I had to hold my drum out a little bit so that the water sheeting off from my hood and my cap wasn't hitting the drum head. That's some big rain. We didn't have that here in the last 4 days. So I was just double checking something here. I see that Jill has joined us. Hi, Jill. Jill, could you do me a favor and just write a comment in, because I'm not seeing any comments on my right-hand side of my screen here. And I don't know if we're having the same issue we did the other day. Do you remember that? Oh, good. Yay. I saw your comment. Thank you, Jill, for doing that. I appreciate it. So at least I know the comments are working, and I don't have to use my phone. Do you remember that one morning? It was 2 weeks ago or so, something like that. The comments weren't working on the Facebook Live stream, and I had to use my phone to see the comments and watch the live stream. Yay! Oh, I'm so glad, Jill. Jill says, I so enjoy these card draws. Me too. Me too. Hi, good morning, Stephanie. I'm so glad you're with us. You know what I enjoy? I enjoy doing the card draw. That's one of the things that I've always really liked, was sitting down with the cards and just checking in for the day. And I've done that for a really long time, but what I enjoy that has come as a bonus, a gift, by doing these morning live streams, sharing the card with you guys, is the conversations that we have, the comments and the questions that you post, and to be able to have a conversation about spirit. And I know we digress, but you know what? That's half the fun, isn't it? I think so. Well, Mary S. says that Lisa's sister Mary Ann is here too. Well, good morning, Mary Ann. I'm so glad you're here with us. And I do believe, Mary, you can, good morning, Elise. Mary S. and Elise, you could correct me if I'm wrong, but Mary Ann joins us does she join us every morning? Because I will remember to make sure that I say hello to Mary Ann every morning. Yeah, just let me know, and I will do my best to remember that Mary Ann is Elise's sister, and she has her own laptop or her own computer, I think, and watches with us, and so good morning, everybody. Now, coffee this morning, and it tastes so good. I tell you what, don't you just like that first cup in the day? You know, this is my second, actually. My first one was earlier this morning while Mom was eating her breakfast. I was having coffee. It's good stuff. Good stuff. So this morning's card drop. 2 cards that we've gotten before. And I had to sit and have a nice conversation with my spiritual team about it. And we actually I believe, have actually gotten these 2 cards in combination together before. And so I wanted to talk to my team about it and find out what is it about these 2 cards that have come up again. And is there something that I'm missing or that we're missing, or what's the deal, you know? And so these are the 2 cards. The first one that came out is the Warbonnet, and it's about advance, right? Yeah, I just love the artwork on these cards. And then Kokopelli came up again, this little guy, right? And it's about fertility. Okay, so I read through the information again on both of them. And then I had the discussion with my spiritual team, you know, asking them, okay, so what gives? Why are we getting these 2 at the same time again? And what I was shown is about our gifts. And the gifts that we came into this physical body with to use on our earth walk. And because one of the phrases that came up, you know, is like, you don't have to find the cure for a disease, you know, something really big and splashy and that affects the entire world in that way, right? You don't have to do that to have an effect on everything, on all our relatives, everything. The fact that we are here affects everything. And then we layer that with the use of our gifts, embracing them, learning how to use them, mastering them, and actually applying them. That changes the world. Even if it's, they you know, of course, it's that proverbial pebble in the water and the ripple effect, right? And so the reason why we get these cards again is because the time is now. Now is the time that we are no longer practicing. It's all about application. All about application. And because of the energy field in which we live in, it's easier to access information from spirit. In the old days, and I'm talking like the 70s and the 60s, I have friends who were practitioners back then, just starting out, you know, those first waivers. And they would tell me about all the things they had to do just to make contact with spirit. You know, they had to be in complete darkness and silence, and they had to have a certain teacher, they had to have use certain herbs and that kind of thing, like cedar and sage, and they had to learn how to use all of that because that wasn't a part of their environment. And so they said that it was like real work to make any kind of contact at all. And in today's world, even though we have all of this chaos and all of this really low vibrational stuff occurring worldwide, that it is so much easier for us in this generation to make contact with spirit and to have that connection with spirit. Yeah, you know, they were telling me that even connection with their spirit guides back then was it took time and it took work to even get to know them because the veil was so thick. And now today, you know, we all connect with our spirit guides comparably to them, relatively easy. What we have to do is turn our attention to them, right? And, all right, Mary S. says, hello, I'm here on my day off. Yay for you, Mary, day off. Day off. Those are so much fun. After you get all the stuff done that you have to get done, then you're having fun. Or you could play hooky and not do the other stuff either. Yep. And let's see, Elise is saying, what is the best class for me? Just learning. Very confused as how I begin. Okay. That's a great question, Elise. Really, really a good question. And of course, you know, I am partial. Can't help it. But Minnie and I have that class coming up. And you did make some comments on the post, I know, Elise. And we're really talking about what we're going to be teaching about in that class, and we're calling it the magic of Hogwarts. And the reason why we called it that is Minnie and I taught a class years ago at Great Lakes Retreat over in Olivet, Michigan. We were co-taught a class at the retreat, and we called it Hogwarts 101. And it was a smashing success, I have to say. We had lots of people in that class, and it was really about the basics of divination, the basics of protection, the basic stuff that you need to know to start building and using your gifts, right? No matter what they are, doesn't matter what they are. There's certain things that you just need as a foundation. And once you have a strong foundation, you can really build on that, right? And so that's what this class is about, is really stabilizing the foundation or getting the foundation. And so that whatever your gifts are that you came in with, you have a strong foundation to stand on, to build from. And so that is the mission of that class. And we're going to have fun because Minnie is going to be doing a forest therapy walk as well. I believe she's also chosen to talk and teach about wands and how to make a wand. This is just off the top of my head because, you know, I deal with a lot of things every day and try not to get them too mixed up in their definitions and descriptions. But and I've chosen to talk about divination. So we'll cover the basics of dowsing and card draws or card layout. But this is also where we're going to fit in that medicine bag that I talked about in the medicine bundle in a card draw way back in like the mid-May. And so I'm going to have the raw materials here for you guys to make your own medicine bag. That's a medicine pouch. And so that's the one that you wear next to your heart and have things that Spirit has gifted you to be able to put in there. Small enough, hopefully, that'll fit. Or maybe a symbol of it is even a good way to put that. So we're going to be doing that, and we're going to be talking about the very, very, very basic shamanic journey work. In other words, how to protect yourself, the drum, that kind of stuff. Really basic. We probably will fit maybe one journey in that basic class. So we're going to have a lot of fun. And it's the weekend of September 22nd. And I think that, Elise, that if not that particular class, a class like that, you can, because I know you've probably been reading, right? Because when we first decide to be conscious on our walk here, as a spirit being, we grab as many books as we possibly can and we start reading, and it's like we're sponges. And then many times you get these aha moments, of course, but more often than not, it generates more questions. It's like, well, what about that? Or why? And so the class itself is a place where you can actually ask questions too. Yeah. And Lisa's saying thanks, Neshi. So stay overnight, one night class. We'll plan on it. Right. Well, it depends. You're coming from Michigan, right? And so we're going to start at 10 a.m. on that Saturday morning. So when I go to Michigan, it's about a 6-hour drive. So you want to kind of plan for that. It might be 2-night stay if you decide to come over on Friday after work, or Friday afternoon or something. It might be a 2-night stay. I did share some information on the Academy page in the closed group in a response to Elise's questions about hotel stays. And I don't know, if what kind of accommodations are available. We live in a kind of a busy place for Wisconsin. We are exactly where the interstate divides. 9094 divides right here. And we also have 2 military installations not too far from us. And so Toma is really the biggest town that has enough hotels to help those people who are staying over. And so I don't know what's available. You're going to have to contact the hotels and what's available. I did put in the contact list, a lot of people don't know this, is that at Fort McCoy, there is a campground and cabin rental that is open to the public. It's just not for military people. Although military people do have a preference for reservations, that it is open to the public. And I put the link there. Those cabins, I've taught out of one of those cabins, and I've had families stay in those cabins. And depending on the size and how many people you can have there, it's a house. It's a house. There's a laundry facility. There's kitchen, full kitchen, and there's at least 2 bedrooms, sometimes 3. And so I was, for those people who are coming from a distance, and you want to do a ride share, if you can get other people to come with you. We do have at least. Nope. I'm sorry. So I was almost got a little confused there, because I'm doing a shamanic class too in August. We need 16, no more than 16 people in that class. The Hogwarts class, we don't have an actual limit on that. So yeah, you might want to ride share. You might want to share lodging. That would defray the cost a bit. That might be doable depending on who's coming from where. And so if you're not a part of the Academy closed group, all you have to do is make a request to join, and we will take a look at your request and get you added on. Yeah. So Elise, you might want to see if there's other people in your area who, or on the way, so you can pick somebody up. It's kind of like a road trip to come around the lake together. That's another way you could do that. All right. So we're going to get to the card draw. Here we go. These two cards, how could they be coming together again? And we're talking about the use of our gifts. So with the Warbonnet, when I was rereading the information, given what my guides had pointed me in that direction, these are the things that jumped out at me when I reread the information. The Warbonnet is typically worn by a leader. And in the old days, it was generally a warrior. It was a man who gained a reputation by protecting the people and caring for the people. And that's how he received feathers, was by with that protection and counting coup. And so that's how the feathers were collected, given to him to make the Warbonnet. And that Warbonnet is made out of eagle feathers, okay? Typically. The real ones are made out of eagle feathers, let's put it that way. And so Jamie Sam writes that he earned the right to wear the Warbonnet because he knew how to advance himself through acts of bravery, advance his clan, and advance his tribe or nation through providing for all its members. And she goes on to write that that it was through service to his people. Service to his people. Now, when I read that and thought about what my guides had said, is that the use of our gifts in service to others, right, is that we're able to assist people in our own communities, sometimes directly, like a healer would, right? Others, maybe it's more indirect. Maybe it is taking your gift of, let's say, that if you're an empath, to be able to hone that gift so that you can help people work through their emotions just by listening to them. Just by listening. And so the Warbonnet, if we bring it into modern day, using its essence today, this is about taking our gifts and some of us stepping into that leadership position, you know, and taking care of the people in a bigger way. You know, we have, I'm so proud of her, my niece, Erin, using the gift of her voice to speak, her education. And you know, she started out helping at Standing Rock and getting a real education through that one. But she had decided that she is going to run for an elected office here in Wisconsin. I think it's a state senator, I think, in her district. Yay, right? Well, she took that another step, and she was at a rally in Minnesota a couple of days ago, and they didn't get into, it was a Trump rally. They didn't get into the actual rally part of the building because there were so many people there, and they were only letting in certain people. Okay. And she was not one of those certain people they were going to let in. And so anyway, she was outside, and there's this picture of this man. It looks like he's yelling at her, right? And she sent it to me, and then she also posted it on Facebook. But it was, to me, a lot of that. I mean, that is a prime example of this, is that she's using her gifts and in a way that many people might not actually take that step, and to go onto a front line, and perhaps be yelled at, called all kinds of names. And the person who was doing the yelling at her was a clergyman from a church. which she didn't know at the time. She didn't know at the time, not until after. And so anyway, that is probably more of an extreme example, but it is an example. She counted coup. She counted coup that day. She actually went to, offered to shake his hand, and he wouldn't shake her hand. Yeah. So, Elise, should I send money now? If you want to register for the class, that's fine. You can do that. Everything is set up. You can go to our website, starnations.org, and go to the Academy page, and everything is there. You can click on it. I believe that one we're using Eventbrite for that one, and so you just click the buy tickets, and you can do that. Okay. Coming for sure. I'm so glad. I can't wait, Elise. We get to actually meet in person. Yay! Yay! That would be so cool. I thank you so much too, Elise, for being brave and saying I'm going to do that. Yeah, I remember those days. I took a trip all by myself to Ireland the first time. Yeah, it was the year my dad passed away. In fact, he passed away in September, and I went on the trip in October. That trip had already been planned, and I was going to cancel it. And my husband said, "No, you don't. You're going. You're going because you need time away." And I could contact him, but it was so expensive. I wasn't going to contact any of the rest of my family, and so it was like 2 weeks. 2 weeks I was gone, and and so sometimes you just have to. The pull was so strong for me to go, and I'm so glad I did. I really am. I learned so much on that trip, and nobody knew me. Nobody knew me, so it wasn't like I had to take care of anybody else but me. And I met some really cool people there, and we're still friends today. And so, Elise, it's a road trip. It's going to be a good one. She says, "Yep, and the garden stepping stone too." Oh, yay, yay, yay! Yeah, that would be so much easier to bring with you than to ship it. Oh, and you're going to be coming alone. Okay, well, I will give you I will PM you my cell phone number. Okay, so that if you need to ask questions or need some help with something, you'll have at least a lifeline. I'll do that. All right, so with this card, the other thing that jumped out at me was that Jamie wrote, as medicine people train for future generations to take their place, many warrior feathers as well as healing feathers are passed to those who honor the teachings and take responsibility for the roles that they'll inherit. Going back to this. Now, the essence of the card, right? So when we share our story, when we share our experiences, when we tell maybe a younger generation or even our contemporaries, right? When we tell our story, that's sharing. That's sharing of those feathers, those what they call them, the warrior feathers and the healing feathers, and that's helping. They're talking about the next generation, and it could literally be that, but it could also be being an inspiration for someone else, and letting them know that, yeah, it was difficult, and this is what I did to make it through, and this is what I learned at the end of it. This is the gift that I got from it, right? And so we do that, and sometimes that is an act of bravery. That is an act of courage. It's taking that step forward to actually share your story. It's not necessarily it's not necessarily an easy thing sometimes, because usually there's a lot of emotion attached to it, right? But that is also part of leadership. It's also a part of a leadership, is to know when it's appropriate and needed to share those stories. And we all have more than one. All of us do. And so when we share those stories, that we may be inspiration to someone else, right? Sorry. I got clients trying to get a hold of me this morning. Yeah. All right. So the other things that jumped out at me is that every chief who had acquired enough feathers for a war bonnet had demonstrated certain qualities as a role model for the people, both male and female alike. The war-bonneted chiefs were the strength of the people. Okay, listen to that. Were the strength of the people. So when you share your story, when you share your gifts with others, with your community, you add to the strength of the community, to your people, to your peeps. That's what I get out of that for today. It is when we share our gifts, and sometimes we don't even know what our gifts are, right? Sometimes it's, especially when you first start out, you're not exactly sure what is a gift, and you mean I came in with some, I don't even know what they are. And chances are you've already been using your gifts, you just didn't realize it in a conscious spiritual way. And yes, they could be the I feel energy through my hands, and when I touch people, when somebody has pain, I seem to be helpful with that. And so we're looking at it in a very kind of narrow spiritual healing perspective, right? But gifts are so wide and so varied. For instance, and I've shared this with you before, is that I have always really, really been good at puzzles. And seeing or sensing a pattern, right? I'm really good at jigsaw puzzles. I'm really, really good at figuring out who done it, kind of mystery books and movies. And some people would say, oh, that's not a gift. But it is. It is. Because when it comes to this kind of stuff, when you get multiple cards and you're trying to see how are they related, seeing the pattern, connecting with my spiritual team and saying, okay, what gives, what's really going, because that's what I do when I'm trying to figure out something. Show me, where's the next piece? Where's the next piece of the puzzle, or connecting the dots? Yeah. So your gifts, right? When you're using them, you add to the strength of your people. She goes on to say that the lessons gained by these chiefs included spiritual illumination, tempered by courage and quick action necessary for proper leadership. Each chief used the gifts the great mystery had given him for the advancement of his people, and by doing so was worthy of his position of leadership. Yeah. There's that word worthy, right? And a lot of times that can be a barrier to the use of your gifts. And with this card, the application, Jamie Sams is writing that it's time to advance. Don't waste energy on going backward or staying in the doldrums. You are now able to move to the next step on the sacred path. You have earned the right to learn the next set of life mysteries. Take your medicine bundle, that's all your gifts, and all the strengths that it represents, and charge forward. You can now approach your destiny with every feather you have earned, marking your past victories, and see the destiny you have chosen emerging before you. Like I said, it's time to use, time for application. We are in an energy field where it is so much easier to connect to spirit. and to learn how to use your gifts to master them. And you only get to master them by doing it, by using them, right? Okay, they're showing me this cooking thing. Is that if you want to become a really, really good cook, a chef, what do? They cook. They experiment. They have dishes that didn't turn out very well, not barely edible, but they tried, right? And eventually, through practice and through the actually doing it, they become better. They become more skilled. Yeah. It's when we actually use our gifts, it's like we're polishing them so they really shine, and that is part of the Warbonnet. Now, how does that fit with this though? The Kokopelli. Do you remember the Kokopelli? We had him a couple of times. Kokopelli is about fertility, and he was half man, half god. So he was a demigod. And he would he started out, his stories about him started out in Mexico, and with the Toltec, and the Toltec nation actually ranged all the way up to Colorado. Okay, and so the stories of Kokopelli are really, really immersed in the Southwest, and he would come amongst the people, bringing his flute, playing his flute, and the flute was music, and that was about creation. But how does that go with the Warbonnet, right? Well, it is about having ideas, having those creative ideas, and those creative thoughts, and actually acting on them, advancing, doing something about it, right? And so Jamie Sammons writes that the Kokopelli carries with it many myths and legends. All story agree on one thing: he played the Indian flute. His music was said to bring fertility to the land and to the people. And so when we have a creative idea and we act on it, it affects not only us, but the people and everything around us, right? So the fact that Minnie and I have had this idea about teaching the Hogwarts class again, and how much fun we had the first time, that's a creative idea, and acting on it, and being able to assist other people in creating a firm foundation for them to build from. And so that is an example. Now the Kokopelli, his image is a lot of places. You see his image on mugs, on wallpaper, light switches. He is pervasive. He shows up in a lot of places. His image does. How many people have seen the Kokopelli image somewhere other than here on the card? Those in the chat, if you could let me know, because it's very pervasive, and many people don't even know what they're bringing into their home when they bring his image in. In some respects, he's like Pan. You know what they say about Pan is that, you have to be really careful about what you ask Pan for, or to invoke him, because Pan takes, he makes sure he gets his energy exchange. Pan does, and if whether you're ready for it or not. Whether you're ready for it or not. All right, in the chat room, Stephanie said, yep, there are Kokopelli figures all over the place. Yes, Jill is saying everywhere. And Stephanie, all over yards in Colorado and New Mexico. Yes. Yep. And I'm not saying that people shouldn't call on him, but be prepared, because this guy is very, very strong. His medicine is very strong. That when you're ready to create something and you want to call on Kokopelli, you know that you're bringing the big guns for fertility. Yep. In fact, I don't know if you guys have heard this one, but there's a lot of Kachina dolls too. And a Kachina doll is, I'm going to show you in case you don't know what one looks like. I have one on the altar. I'm going to grab it. Okay. This is a Kachina doll. They're very lightweight. They represent a spirit of, and this is, so I want to make sure I get the, I want to get the, what's called a mudhead. But anyway, this is a dancer. And the reason why I have him is because he represents not only dancing, but he also represents how Kachina dolls are also that representation of beings from star beings. That's a good one. Star beings. Some people would call them extraterrestrials, but they're star beings. And so you also want to be very careful of what kind of Kachina you bring into your home. And so the Kachina dolls, that is not a Kokopelli one, but that is a Kachina. Now, the thing is that with the Kokopelli Kachina, is that when I first read that, I thought, oh, okay, for him to be depicted as a Kachina, that would tell me that somewhere along the line in his stories that he was a star being, right? And then I read that he was half man and half God. In other words, that the star beings came and they had a child with a human, right? And that turned out to be Kokopelli. And that's why he can create so easily. Think about that. We got star being. We have a being that has no limitation, barriers, blocks to creation, that law of attraction stuff. Yeah. Stephanie said she walked away for a moment and heard me say Kachina dancer. Yeah, I just showed the Kachina dancing that I have, because some people may not know what a Kachina doll is. And so I just wanted to show an example of one. I don't have one of Kokopelli. Yeah, Stephanie's saying Pan is one crazy dude. He exchanges are always intense. Yes, they are. And think about it though, with Kokopelli, it's very similar. It's very, very similar. And Lisa's saying, I made a sun Kachina out of stained glass. I know, I saw that on your Facebook page. That is beautiful. All right, so if he is a star being, right? And they talk about star nations a lot with Kokopelli. Jamie Sams writes that when he finished his flute, he was playing for a young woman. He wrapped it like a child in a brightly woven material and offered it to the great star nation. His words carried to the farthest reaches of the pueblo, saying that this flute carries the music of the stars to the great Earth Mother and calls for the thunder beings to make love to her. The union will bring a child to the people who will one day lead them back to the stars through the inner earth from which they came. And that's what the Hopi and the Navajo believe, right? Is that man came from the center of the earth, came out of the earth. So it's about fertility. It's about the creation process. And just like how we create children, it takes a divine effort. And Kokopelli brings that to us. Now pair that with the Warbonnet and the use of your gifts. What are you creating? What have you wanted to create but haven't moved forward? Is there something that, an idea or a thought or a feeling that you want to bring to the earth plane, grounded here on the earth plane, but haven't moved forward? And it's a repetitive thought. It's a repetitive dream. That's how my medicine dress came to be. Is I had that vision, that dream back in 1999. And it wasn't until 99, must have been 2004, 2003 that it actually came onto the earth plane, that I actually made the dress. But it was a repetitive. I had the dream and that dress would not leave my thoughts. I would be driving someplace and I would be thinking about the dress, or I'd be hearing about the dress from my team. Yeah, so what is it? Do you have something? Do you have something like that you haven't acted on, that you haven't advanced forward? Jamie Sam says, Kokopelli plays the flute and weaves the magic of his songs to remind us that magic is no more than a change in consciousness. If we want the seed we sow to fall on fertile ground, then we must change our perception and use our talents in a fertile manner. When we use our gifts, now if you can imagine the feathers being your gifts and the times that you used your gifts, that you've earned the right to create the next gift, the next creation. Now, with Kokopelli, the application of the card, right? The application of the card. The song is one of fertility. You're being asked to use your talents to create fertility in some area of your life. Planting seeds for the future takes effort on your part, so now is the time to use your skill and resources to make use of the magic. If you have a project to begin or an idea to develop, the timing couldn't be better. Shift away from any old limiting ideas and move forward. The time is now. Okay, so that's why we get these two cards together today. Kokopelli and fertility, ideas, and taking your gifts and advancing. So whatever you feel could be holding you back, find a way through it. If it's healing something, heal it. You know, one of the things that I am so grateful for is Polly Jo LeBay's shows. The one on Tuesday at noon, when she specifically talks about a specific chakra and teaches us about it, and then does the healing meditation around it. But my most favorite is Wednesday night. Wednesday night, when Through Soul Connections is the name of that show. And it's not really a show, it's an hour of healing where she channels a sacred space for us to be able to work with our spiritual teams, to work on whatever intention that we hold to heal, to remove blocks from. Because many times healers, medicine people, we don't take the time for ourselves. We don't. And so if that is holding you back from using your gifts, if that's holding you back from applying your gifts to a creation of yours, an idea, a project, if you're writing, you said, I'm going to write that book. I'm going to write that book. And you haven't done it yet. Do it. You need to advance. You need to create and advance that creation. That's what Spirit is telling us about for today. So, watch, be aware of your environment, how energy is flowing around you, through you. How is it coming to you? How are the essence of these two cards showing up for you today? Noticing, sensing. Are you a participant, a direct participant in that flow of energy to you? Or are you a witness, witnessing somebody using their gifts? Maybe you're an inspiration to somebody. Be aware of how the energy is coming to you today. Because, the intention for the card draw is, what do we need to know today for of the energy today that's for our highest good? So whatever felt good to you in this sharing, is grab it, use it the best you can. If there's something that you just didn't resonate with and it's like, oh, I don't know about that, that's okay. Let that one go. That wasn't for you. But hold on to the ones that felt good and that did resonate with you, and use it. See how it unfolds for you today. Yeah, I am. I will. It's Saturday. I'm going to have some fun today. I'm working on the magazine July issue. I got my 2 articles done. I just need to go and kind of polish them up a bit. I think you're going to like them. And I'm working on, Minnie and I are starting a new radio show. It's called Nature Adventures. And so I'm working with our creative team over at Elf Elm to get the promotions created. Created, moving forward, advancing. And so we're fine-tuning those. And so, I love what I do. I love being creative, and I love being in service to you guys, to my community, to Star Nation's community. I love you guys. You don't know it, but you are the ones that helped me through a really tough year last year. See, I'm getting all emotional about it. Last year, if it weren't for you guys, it would have been even harder. And so I love you guys, and I do my very best to use all of my gifts as best I can to help provide a community and service for you. And I hope you guys enjoy it too. So, all right, one last look at the chat room and see what's going on. Mary S. says, thank you for sharing Saturday morning with us. Blessings. You're welcome. Elise, hugs to you and both moms. Thank you. Can't wait till September. You have no idea. Stephanie is saying, thank you. You're very welcome. And Elise says, we love you too. Yes. All right. Now go enjoy the rest of your Saturday, and we'll see you tomorrow morning. Okay. For the next card draw. And until then, Bama Mina, until we see each other again.